All right, welcome back to the Are You Strong show. I can't wait for you guys to meet this guest. He's from St. Louis, Missouri, right? And he went to the University of Minnesota, graduated in 2008, right? And where he played defense. And I just got finished watching his highlight tape today. And there's clips where he played Michigan, Ohio State, Northwestern, Illinois, Michigan State, where he had a scoop fumble for a TD, which was sick to watch. Played against Wisconsin, Iowa, the Big Ten football. I don't think it gets any bigger anymore. The Big Ten is the conference. Everybody's SEC. Who cares? Big Ten is the conference. But for the last 8 years or so, this young man has been at his alma mater, University of Minnesota, climbing the ranks in the school. Started out as the director of Infinity Engagement, then became the associate vice president of Infinity Engagement, and now is the senior director of Infinity Engagement. I don't know how much higher you can go, but that's pretty cool. He's involved with a couple other things, which wait till you hear about this. In athlete transition coach at Athlete Soul, certified trainer and facilitator at Positive Coaching Alliance. He's the founder of Strive Higher After Sports and the author of this journal, which this is on YouTube. I'm going to show this piece here. We're going to talk about this when we get rolling. But he helps athletes design a fulfilled life after sports, which is so important. Welcome to the show, Stephen Davis.
Man, thank you. That's an amazing intro. I appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you, it's not even everything you've done. When I look at your bio, I mean, you got a million things on there. Like I'll be here for 20 minutes giving you introduction.
Yeah, you live long enough, you experience things, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So Steve, I got a ton of questions to ask you here, but before I get into that, why don't you just tell the audience just a little bit about yourself,
Yeah.
and then we'll roll from there.
Well, no, thanks. So yeah, like you mentioned, I'm from St. Louis and decided to go play football at the University of Minnesota. And I would say like a lot of my life mission really came after my own transition from playing football. I was a number one recruit out of St. Louis coming into Minnesota, and I had my identity wrapped around making it, to the NFL. And that dream did not happen. And when it didn't happen, it kind of shook me up and really, I would say, woke me up to the possibilities of trying to think about myself as more than that, and what others are going through in that same
Yeah,
period. And what I realized during that time is that a lot of us are struggling in silence, and there aren't too
mm,
many resources available to help people process and reform their identity before they go out into the real world. And I think a lot of fans of the games love to watch the players and see them perform, but a lot of them don't know that they're suffering when they're done. They're trying to figure out, who they are
yeah,
outside of the cheers that they get on the field or on the court.
yeah,
So it became a passion of mine, and it drove me to come back to Minnesota, where my dreams kind of started, and I wanted to be a bridge for others. And
yeah,
eventually, as I started volunteering and finding ways of connecting with people, I became a resource at the University of Minnesota, where I was actually providing resources and connecting them to different things that will help them in their lives.
yeah,
But that passion, I would say, for helping athletes specifically. Um, Continue to grow. And I just understood that the issue is still prevalent around
yeah,
the world with all
yeah,
athletes. And I felt like I wanted to do more. So I just leaned into learning about what aspects of me that in my journey that I've learned that could be helpful for others, but also what are some skills that I can develop that will actually be beneficial for others. And
yeah,
that's why I became a life coach. And that's why I really leaned into life design and, focusing on, that aspect of helping others because I didn't know it at the time, but I was using a lot of those elements of, testing out different things, experiencing life, learning from my mistakes, reflecting on all the things that I'm going through to help me grow and continue to evolve. And I'm still growing and evolving today. So that's what really brought me to
You're a young man,
hey,
you
we
know?
all learn and grow. You never
Yeah,
stop growing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to bounce around a little bit,
Yeah.
right? And you graduated in 2008. Okay. And that's, prior to NIL,
Yep.
prior to the transfer portal the way it is, that was kind of a little transferring going on back then. It's nothing like
Yeah.
today.
Right.
But let's talk about your recruiting process. You coming out of high school.
Yep.
Now, you could have went to the University of Missouri, but you didn't. I'm
Yeah.
sure they recruited you. But what was that process like for you? How did you choose Minnesota? Was it stressful? Was there family involved? Was it a crazy time in your life, or was it like, hey, you know what? I'm going there and done.
Yeah, I mean, I look at back at it, and I think it was fun because, like, obviously, you get all these colleges reaching out to you and rolling out the red carpet and
Yeah.
really trying to get you to say yes to come to their school. Um, any kid that experienced that just loves that, and I would say go through the full process. Don't just commit early. Like, just go through it just so you can see what's out there.
Yeah.
It was eye-opening for me because at the beginning of that process, yeah, Mizzou was like one of the first offers. But then a lot of Big Ten schools came in and they started talking to me more and more than Mizzou had done, and they were right in my backyard.
Yeah.
So I decided to explore more of some of these Big Ten schools, and coincidentally, Iowa and Wisconsin were top on my list. They both said that I was number one on their recruiting chart, and they
Coach
really
Ferentz
would,
at Iowa,
yeah.
right? I know he was my coach in Maine
Oh yeah, yeah, yep.
for 1 year.
So yeah, they both said that I was top on their list, and they really wanted me to come to their school. But in my senior year, as I was just like announced as the number one player in St. Louis, and I was just thinking about my schedule of visits that I wanted to take. Iowa had come to me like right before the season started and told me that they didn't have any more scholarships available, and that if I wanted to come to the team, I would have to walk on,
Oh,
and that kind of threw me for a loop. So then
yeah.
I was like, okay, well, Iowa's out off the table. I'm going to explore these other schools. I had Northwestern, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota started coming in late, but Wisconsin and Northwestern were probably top on my list at that point in time. Visited Northwestern, liked it, but then I came back and I was going to go to Indiana for a visit. Their coaching staff got fired. Minnesota swooped right in and then went on a visit there. And I really love Minnesota, but I was still thinking Wisconsin was going to get the edge. Then the next week, Wisconsin coach comes to one of my games and basically tells me the same thing that Iowa said. Like, hey,
Did he?
you don't have a scholarship available here anymore. We just had somebody commit.
Now, is
So
that because you waited too long to say yes to them,
that's
or?
what they told me.
Okay.
But I don't think that's true because I saw after the fact the amount of people that they recruited after they told me that who
Yeah.
committed afterwards that they still had scholarships available. And for them to tell me I was top on their list, like you would think that they
Yeah.
would hold something for me, right? But that pissed me off, needless to say. And at that
Yeah.
point in time, I figured out Minnesota has rivalries with both of those schools. So I said,
Yeah.
okay, let's just cut it off. I'm going to
Yeah.
Minnesota, and I'm just gonna stick it to him. So
And that's where PJ was, right?
no,
He,
he wasn't there yet. No,
no,
I
he wasn't
got
there yet.
there with Glenn Mason. Glenn Mason
Okay.
was there. Yep.
I thought he was there already. So when did he get there?
PJ got here 2016, 17, something like that.
So is that much long further down, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, he was probably at Rutgers in 2008, right?
More than likely.
Yeah.
Or either that or Northern Illinois.
Northern
I
Illinois.
know he was with Jerry Kill.
Yeah.
Yep.
Row the boat.
Sky Ma.
So what was it like, when you said yes, they're paying your freight to go to Minnesota, you're packing your bags, you're showing up, Big Ten football, you're 18 years old, and you walk into this locker room of monsters. What's that like as a young 18-year-old at that level of football? Is that like super intimidating, or are you like, man, I'm fitting right in?
It's humbling because I
Yeah.
think you go into it, especially for somebody who's been the top person in their team. You go into that locker room, you realize everybody was a top person on their team. It was the best player in the state or top 10 or
Yeah.
whatever that is. So then you start to think about it like, okay, well, now I got to step my game up because
Yeah.
everybody here is good. And it took a while for me to adjust to the speed of everything because obviously people are bigger, faster, and stronger than you are, mostly as coming in as a freshman.
Yeah.
So I just had to kind of get adjusted to it. But I credit my high school coach with a lot of my, I would say, preparation
Okay.
for college. He kind of ran like a college program, and we were very disciplined. We were very sound on our technique, and I was good with that aspect of the game. So I just kind of went in going as hard as I could, even on scout team, but using everything that I learned in high school that made me good to just continue to showcase my ability. And it just so happened, like, as I'm just trying to make a name for myself and just make plays and just do what I normally did in high school, couple guys get hurt in
Yeah.
this, training camp, and the coach had no choice but to put me in with the ones. And I got in with the ones, and yeah, I'm intimidated. We got all American offensive linemen: Greg Exlinger, Mark Setterstrom. We had some big guys, like they
Yeah.
were legit. And Lawrence Maroney's back there, Marion Barber's back there. Like this is a legit offense, right?
Yeah.
But I just leaned into my technique and leaned into using my leverage. And yeah, I was undersized, but I still was able to kind of hold myself, up against all these guys.
Yeah.
And eventually, as the upperclassmen came back into training camp, the coach still had confidence that I was doing good out there. And next thing you know, he was like, "Hey, we're gonna start you on game one." I'm like, "Whoa!" I wasn't expecting that. But I would say I just try to control what I can control, which is my
Yeah.
effort, which is my technique,
Yeah.
and just kind of get adjusted to the speed of the game. It took me a while for that, but I think they had trust in my ability to kind of hold my own, but also I had this unique ability to, get to the pass. I mean, get to
Yeah.
the passer. My pass rushing ability was the reason why I got recruited.
Yeah.
So when it became time to like getting after the quarterback, like, hey, that's easy for me.
Yeah. I tell you, I'm just going to say this out there. If anybody wants to see Steve really do his job on the football field on LinkedIn, he's posted his own video of his highlight reel. It's
Yeah.
incredible. It is like I'm like, holy crap, this guy's all over the place, you know? So what advice, Steve, can you give to the young freshmen coming in? Now that you've been there, the world
Yeah.
is changed since I've been there, since you've been there. It's like
Mm.
it's almost like the celebrities coming in now. What
Yeah.
advice can you give them?
I think the unfortunate part right now for a lot of these freshmen that are coming in is they're competing obviously with a bunch of veterans in the transfer portal.
Yeah,
And everybody wants to come in and play,
yeah,
especially if you're a top player, you go into a top team, you want that opportunity to jump in and have that chance to showcase your ability. I think it's being patient with controlling what you can control. Like I didn't
hmm
go in there expecting that I was going to be a starter. I was just like, I know what I can do, and I'm just gonna do the best that I can do on practice and continue to just get better each day.
yeah,
Um, for a lot of these kids that are buying their time and waiting for the opportunity to play, and they may not get that opportunity in that first year, and they think about, well, I might go somewhere else. I'm kind of against that. I feel like you have to, get your licks and bruises and, go through the trenches a little bit in order for you to grow as a
yeah,
player because it's not going to get any easier at this level.
right,
If you can't beat out those guys now, you just have to learn what are you deficient at and
yeah,
get better
and
at
get
it.
better.
And once you get better at it, then you get your opportunity to shine and you can kind of move forward with that. So I think it's a lot about patience, I would say, coming in, getting adjusted to obviously the system, big time college football. Yeah, you want to play. Yeah, you want to showcase your ability. But the best thing you can do is showcase your opportunity to get better each day in practice. And learning from all the mistakes that you're gonna make because you're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah,
You're not gonna get it all right. And I think
yeah,
everybody's like,
yeah,
well, I gotta be perfect. Like, no, don't be perfect. Just show that if you made a mistake, you got better, that you're coachable, that you can kind of figure out how to make adjustments as the game kind of goes, because that's how it's going to be when you're in real live games.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's not going to always go your way. You're gonna miss a tackle. You're
yeah,
gonna miss an assignment. But if you got your head down about it and not able to bounce back, you're not showing like your resilience, and the coach's not going to have the trust to put you out there.
right. Well, you hit one big word on the head is coachable.
Hmm.
My opinion is this whole transfer thing, right? Some of these kids are transferred 4 times. Like I just don't think those kids are coachable because they're not hearing what they want to hear.
Yeah,
So they say, I'm out of here then. Versus like you said, like you got to work your way through it. You got to fight to get like you can't just walk in there and expect I'm the guy.
yeah,
You got 3, 4 years of kids ahead of you who've been earning their spot and their time. It's be coachable, and also be courageous. Be courageous to take the lumps.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And some of these guys, it's kind of crazy, but
Yeah, the
yep,
environment is not set up in a way to make it easy for that though. I think
right,
obviously if I look back 18 years old and I'm in this predicament now, like I would be in the same mindset of just trying to take advantage of all the opportunities I have
yeah,
to set myself up for success. So
right,
I don't fault them for like, all right, this is not working out for me. I'm going to find a different location. However, I do feel like it has taken away a little bit of their competitiveness in the sport of having to showcase and fight through in order for you to get your
yeah,
opportunity to play
right,
versus I'm going to go to this place who already said like I'm going to be the day one starter.
yeah,
And now I don't have to really fight for it. I just got to show up. Like
yeah,
how much of your work ethic is actually going to show in that situation? And also how does that translate to when you get done?
yeah,
Because in life, things are not going to be handed to you
no,
more times than not.
no,
So given the fact that you haven't learned how to fight through it and compete,
yeah,
that's not a good quality.
right,
So that's one thing that I just try to harp on. It's like you still have to learn how to compete at a high level
yeah,
and push through and knowing that, hey, you may not get that opportunity on day one. So
right,
what? What are you going to do to
yeah.
kind of move forward and find that opportunity to get that chance?
Yeah, just find a place to contribute something, you
Yep.
know. So you got the nod game one, your freshman year.
Yep.
Now, did you keep that spot for the next 4 years?
Yep.
That's like unheard of.
Well, I'm the type of person like you give me a opportunity, I'm gonna
Yeah,
run with it. Plus, I was motivated.
yeah,
It's funny, I was talking to some friends the other day, and they kind of realized this theme is that if you tell me I can't do something, that pushes me even more,
yeah,
especially in my past life as an athlete.
yep,
And I was motivated by all the teams that told me I wasn't good enough to be a defensive end. And they wanted me to move to outside linebacker. And I was motivated by Wisconsin and Iowa telling me I wasn't good enough to play for them.
yeah,
So I said, if I get the opportunity to play, I'm not gonna let it go. I'm gonna continue to try to get better, knowing that yeah, these upperclassmen are behind me, and
yeah.
they're probably mad that I took their
Oh yeah,
position.
oh yeah,
But hey, I can't control that opportunity that was given to me
yeah,
and say, like, I feel bad for you. Like, hey, I'm still going to be the
yeah.
best player that I can be for this team because it's going to help us win.
Right. Hey, it wasn't your decision to put you out there. It was the coaches.
It was the coaches.
Go
Right.
fight with them.
Right.
Right, right. But especially back in your years, not that it was ancient times like mine, but it's rare a freshman comes in and just takes over. It's
Yeah.
very rare. You got to be super skilled, super determined, and like your skill sets just got to be through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think, like I said, I had a unique ability to rush the passer, and that
Yeah,
was like the shining thing that was getting me recruited. Um, and funny thing is, like, while I was there my freshman year, our coaches were really kind of focused on teaching us how to bull rush, and
yeah,
I've never bull rushed before that time. So I was learning that skill, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm undersized. Like, that's not my thing. So
yeah,
what really started to give me the opportunity to actually make some impactful plays was me going back to what I know naturally in my ability to get to the pass. I mean to the quarterback. Um, and my freshman year, it was only one other freshman that played that got an opportunity to play. And this guy, I think, was one of the best athletes I've ever played with. But we both were like freshman All Big Ten players. I was a freshman All of American because of my opportunity to actually go and get after the quarterback.
yep.
But then things got harder. People recognized who I was then, and
Oh yeah,
the next
double
year it
team
was
you.
double teams coming
Oh
every
yeah,
time.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, you can't expect not to become a marked man.
Right.
Right? So you're there as a freshman, as a starter.
Hmm.
Now you play for the next 4 years. Now I'm going to guess I already know the answer, but can you pinpoint just one time, like the most memorable moment of your 4 year career? Like, wow.
So my most memorable moment I always harken back to is my freshman year when we played at the Big House against Michigan.
Yeah.
That was the first time playing in like 100,000 fans. They were always talking about the Big House and what it
Yeah.
was and what the environment was. But we came in ready to play. We were not expected to win. But we came in with a different edge, and for me, it was just like, hey, this is big time. This is my moment to like showcase what I can do. And I had one of the alumni players on the sideline who was really just like hyping me up the entire game. That kind of gave me a little bit more energy. Um, and we were back and forth with Michigan that day, and I contributed 2 sacks that day against Chad Henne and Jake Long and those
Yeah.
guys over there, and we end up winning that game at the end. You know, we had a running back kind of run up the sideline. We kick a game-winning field goal. We planted the flag in the middle of the field, like all the stuff
They
that
must have
people were
loved
fighting
that.
about last year. Yeah. That was like a coming out party because the coach, I believe, I can't remember, Coach Lloyd, from Michigan at the time, he went up to Glenn Mason, was like, who is this Steve Davis kid that you have on your team? I missed on that one. I was
Yeah.
like,
Now
yeah,
they didn't recruit you at all, Michigan?
no,
Isn't that crazy?
yeah,
It's like there's just so many kids, and coming out that I mean, someone's going to get overlooked somewhere, right?
yeah, yeah.
But
It's bound to
it's
happen.
it's just nuts. But I want to ask you two questions about preseason football,
Hmm.
right? Camp.
Okay.
You know, I call it joint suffering, or let's say team torture, right? Can you talk about that experience, what it was like to come in? And by the time you're a senior, you can know what to expect.
Yeah.
But high school football to preseason University of Minnesota camp, the intensity, the
Yeah.
craziness. Can you talk about that adjustment?
Oh yeah, it was definitely a grind. We practically lived in the football complex. I barely went home during tour days in preseason camp. Um, and it is a full day schedule. You know, from high school, like okay, you come in during the summer, but you're not there all day. Like
Yeah, a
you
couple
got
hours, go
time for a
home.
break, but you in college you have like a very small break and then it's like back to watching film. Then you go back to practice. And then after practice, you get to eat for a little bit. And if you're smart, you go to sleep because then you got to wake up early in the morning and do it all over again.
Yeah,
Um, and back when I was playing, we were in full pads
yeah,
the entire time.
yeah.
You know, they're in shells now. They're
Oh,
not
yeah, they're on vacation now.
Yeah, they're not tackling, you know. We were going live for the
Yeah,
majority of camp. So
yeah,
it was intense.
yeah,
And when I talk about like adjusting to the speed, like that
yeah,
that was for me was eye-opening. Like, okay, we got all day here watching film. This is my first time like diagnosing and really looking
yeah.
at film that way. Um, and then going back out to the practice field, like your body's hurting,
Oh, yeah.
you're tired, but you got to keep pushing through. Then you got conditioning and
Oh,
all the
yeah.
stuff that comes with it. It's just like it's a grind.
How about adjusting to the what they call half speed, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're as a freshman half speed. Okay, it's like high school. Then this kid don't come out and just drill you. You're like, wait a minute, it's half speed here. Like, no, there's nothing half speed, right?
Yeah, no, it's not. I think that was actually my moniker. One of the offensive linemen, our All-American offensive line, Mark Setterson, came up to me one day. It was like, "Hey, what are you trying to be like, scout team All-American?"
Yeah, yeah,
And I was like, "I'm just going the speed that I know. You
yeah,
know, I'm playing on scout team just to try to give them good
yeah,
reps."
yeah,
But hey, that got me noticed, and then next thing you know, I'm in with the ones, and this is
yeah,
real. So
yeah. I mean, if you're on the scout team, you got to go full speed.
yeah,
Because like you said, that's the only way they're going to notice you. If you go half speed on the scout team, they're like, you could get pummeled.
right, right. Yeah,
You
they're
know?
gonna just drive me to the ground, pancake me.
So help me with this one. And this is something that the traditional non-athletic student can't understand. But can you figure out if I asked you to put in a paragraphical format, right, and describe what it's like, what you're feeling when you're out on the field playing the game at the highest level, Michigan, Minnesota, or I don't care which team, but can you describe that euphoric feeling?
Yeah. Um, it is it is like, you have uh, a moment in time where things just feel like an out of body experience when you first go into that atmosphere. And if you even if you played in Texas, where they got, a lot of the big crowds
Yeah,
in their stadiums, it still doesn't compare to going to Ohio State or Penn State or
yeah,
Wisconsin or Iowa or Michigan,
yeah,
where
yeah.
they have thousands and thousands of fans screaming intensely loud while you're playing, booing you
Oh,
while
yeah,
you're trying to like listen to the plays that your coach is giving you. Um, and knowing that it's also on TV.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like you got all these eyes on you,
yeah,
and to a certain extent, you either like sink or swim in that environment.
yeah,
For me, it felt like it kind of gave me an extra push that I want to put my best foot forward and like, here we go. This is big time football. We're in the Big Ten,
yeah,
and this is the environments that they talked about. The ground is shaking.
yeah,
The
yeah,
crowd is outrageous.
yeah,
And you got to focus in because
yeah,
you can easily get lost in that environment to think about all these other things that are out there
yeah,
versus everything that you practice and honed in on throughout
yeah,
that week
yeah,
and just lining up and doing your assignment.
yeah,
So for me, it was just like an extra focus that came with it. Like it was out of body in the sense of there's all these things that are around me that create this crazy environment where
yeah,
you understand it. This is big time football. This is
yeah,
different. But
yeah,
at the same time, it also helped me like hone in. It's kind of like the movie On Any Given Sunday, where
yeah,
Jamie Foxx at the end was like looking for that the game winning play, was about to jump
yeah,
into the end zone, but then it just became quiet, just
yeah,
focus,
yeah,
because he saw that moment, he saw his opportunity, and he just wanted to go and take it. Like that environment kind of creates some of those moments for you where you're like, all right, this is a big play moment. We're 3rd and 10. We need to get the ball back. Come on, Steve, you need to go get a sack.
yeah,
And leaning into the focus of what I need to do in that moment and not letting the environment affect that, but also the adrenaline that you get when you do make that play and the crowd goes wild for your team and the
yeah,
other crowd at Michigan just quiets.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
an amazing feeling.
Yeah, right, right. And like I'm like feeling the goosebumps already hearing you talk about it. But the typical person doesn't understand that. Like, come on, how cool could it be? Like, they just don't get it. Like, that is something that's like you said, out of body experience. It's
Yeah,
like, holy crap. But then it's like, hey, this is what we signed up for.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
which
And I tell
it's
people all the time, even in the work environments, like when we go talking to people. And I said, look, I had to perform in front of thousands of people. Talking to 20 people, it does not intimidate me. This environment that I was groomed in
yeah,
helped me like perform at the highest in front of so many people
yeah, yeah,
that it gives me confidence to go anywhere else to do the same
right,
thing.
right. Talk about the locker room. Talk about the camaraderie. Talk about the bus trips, the plane trips, the hotel stays. Can you
Yeah.
explain what that meant to you?
I mean, that was everything. That was the most exciting part about being on a team
Yeah,
is the connections that you foster with the other teammates, people from all different walks of life, Florida, Ohio, California, and you get to learn about them, you get to connect with them. You build deeper relationships because you're with them all day, every day.
yeah,
It's like you have no choice but to get to know these people.
yeah,
And being able to like go on the road and watch a movie together, spend some time doing training camp through the trenches, but also going out to different places together. Like you become like your own community.
Yeah.
Um, and when the game is done, like that's the part that's missed the most. I feel like for a lot of
Oh
athletes,
yeah.
it's
Oh yeah.
not just like I want my own performance and I want to be successful and I still want to be looked at as light. It's like, man, I missed the locker room because
Yeah.
my guys were my guys, and this was a great environment for me. And like I don't know how to function without that community that I used to
Yeah.
have. Because it really helps you, like getting all
Oh
these
my
people
God.
pushing you as well,
Yeah.
getting all these people to like support you, and then you guys are winning and succeeding together. Like it's
Yeah.
just like the best feeling.
Right. And it's guys you can lean on when you need them.
Most definitely.
When you're down in the dumper, you know where to go.
Right.
And also, when you see someone else down in a dumper,
You know how to pick them back up. Like, hey,
that's
let's
it.
go.
Let's go. Let's
Let's
go.
go.
So it's crazy how the sports world creates that environment, that it's like a family environment, right?
Yep.
So how about the mental side? The mental side of the game, man, it is hard.
Yep.
Your bumps, your bruises, you make mistakes, you got to go to class, you got to deal with life, you have issues in the world. Talk about your mental side of the game. How did you handle that? Was there help for that back then? Was there resources to talk to? And if so, how did they look at it?
To answer your question, no, there was no resources back then related to the mental side. I think there's a lot of pressure for college student athletes. These are 18 to 21-year-old
Yeah.
kids coming into an environment for the first time, like being on their own.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, they're in a team atmosphere, but there is a lot of pressure to perform. And you also got to go to class and keep your grades up. Um, you also have to make sure that you're showing up for practice on time and film. And you got assignments and things that you want to, have to accomplish in between that. Um, Mind you, also like you're there as a student, but your schedule does not allow for you to really explore the full student experience. So, for those who come to school as an athlete wanting to explore all the career paths that they can in college, it's hard
Oh yeah.
because you are demanded to be at practice and at the facility for certain
Right.
times for weightlifting, and at games sometimes throughout the week. If you're playing basketball, hockey,
Yeah.
volleyball, like you're
Yeah.
going throughout the week. And good luck trying to keep up with all the regiment of the class and keeping that going. And then if you're trying to get a job opportunity in between that, that's even harder.
Yeah.
So I think from a mental side, there's a lot that's been put onto these to student athletes. And to a certain extent, because there wasn't a lot of like support back in the day, I felt like, you really had to just kind of chuck it up and
Yeah.
keep it going. Kind of fight your own battles and kind of take it all off on the field. That's what most of the
Yeah.
guys that I played with did. And it's like, hey,
Yeah.
you might be going through some things, but in practice, I'm just gonna let it all out. Or in this
Yeah.
game, I'm gonna let it all out. Whereas nowadays, there's a lot of resources available. But I would say the ante of the pressure has way
Oh yeah.
spiked.
With
Because like
all the money
all the
involved now.
money, but even the awareness and the validation that you get from social media. Like when I played, Facebook was the main thing.
Yeah.
Um, Twitter was starting to come around, but we were not using it like that. Nowadays, you got Twitter, you got Instagram, you got all these other things, these
TikTok.
platforms,
Yeah.
and everybody's watching you,
Yeah.
everything that you do.
Yeah.
And you using that to build your own brand, right?
Yep. Yep.
So what you do every day matters. It's kind of
Yeah.
like you live a disassociated life. You're practicing, you're going to do your sport, but you're also like not really connecting with people because you have to be on your devices in order to build the brand, in order to kind of build this leverage of validation from everybody else.
Yeah.
And also, if you make a mistake, the people on that platform are hounding you. They're
Oh
destroying
yeah.
you.
Oh yeah.
I just think back to in games when some players on my team made mistakes, and we would hear from people in just like the email thread.
Yeah.
But nowadays, you make a mistake that's visible for the world to see, you're getting attacked not only from your team, you're getting
Oh,
attacked from
everywhere, everywhere.
everybody.
Yeah. And it's on
So
ESPN.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot that
Yeah.
they have to go through and they are trying to navigate in college. And the fact that there is professional help available is great. I think it's also something that needs to be emphasized, I would say, a little bit more for the student athletes to take advantage of because I
Right.
don't think they want to because honestly, you go into sports, you're like, hey, I can handle it, I can push through. Like that's just the mentality that you have as an
Yeah.
athlete. We're now starting to get into the generation where it is okay to not be
Yeah.
okay, have a conversation with somebody and
Right.
really kind of talk through all of the things that you're feeling in order for you to feel like yourself. Because if you don't feel 100% confident in who you are at the time and you're trying to go out there and compete, like you're not going to be able to give your full self. Like you're running on a
Right.
tank that's maybe three-fourths full instead of full.
Yeah. Right.
And how do you make sure that you're tapping in to recharge your batteries?
Right.
That's part of what the mental game of it is because the physical side is one aspect, but you really need to be tapped in here
Yeah.
in order to like compete and make the best plays out there on the field. And if
Right.
things are going on here that are distracting, it can cause ripple effects on your play. So
Sure. And I think that's what some of the athletes are afraid of, Steve, is they're afraid to say anything for fear that the coaches might think that about them. Hey, well, if they're not all together up here, maybe they're going to carry that out there, and we can't have that, so go sit over there.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And back when I was playing, like you didn't say anything, nothing.
right.
But today, I don't want to say it's in vogue. That's not the right word. But today, it's more accepted. But I still think that the athletes are still waiting for some leader on the team to do something first. And so it's for them to say, well, if he did it or she did it, it must be okay, so that I can do
Right.
it.
Right. They don't want the stigma attached to, oh, this person doesn't have it all together and I
Right.
can't rely on them
Yeah.
because they're going through something.
Right.
But
Right.
everybody's going through something. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think when they see that somebody that they thought was like perfect actually goes in and had that conversation to your point, then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, if they can have a conversation, I got some
Yeah.
stuff I want to talk about too.
Yeah.
You know?
Then everybody feels better.
Yeah.
you know. But the challenge is what I say, and this I know people listening are probably going to make a comment, but I say athletes like I majored in football and I got a degree in psychology that came along with it,
Yeah, that's true.
right? And so whatever sport you're playing, you're majoring in that because that's
Yeah.
what you're getting paid to be there. I wasn't getting paid to go to class. I was getting paid to play football, right? If I wasn't playing football, they wouldn't be paying me to be there. So what are we
Yeah.
there for? But I
Yeah.
get it, and the idea is we got to learn how to balance it, but it's hard. It's definitely
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of demands being
yeah,
placed on these student athletes,
yeah,
and obviously with the environment where it is now, and NIL and things are changing, and they're starting to get a little bit more access. I still feel like the environment is getting even ramped up to a level where it's scary to just kind of process and think about like what an individual athlete at a D1 high level institution is going through on a daily basis in order for them to feel like they're being successful, that they can
yeah,
stay in with the environment. Or then it's like I got to get out of here and go to another place. But then
right.
it's not creating good habits, I would say,
No,
in that regard.
no. And then throw this on top of it, an injury. Now, did you have any injuries through your 4 years, or were you lucky to get through unscathed?
I had high and low ankle sprains, but no broken bones.
Okay.
So for the most part, I was out maybe 3 or 4 games in my career. So I was lucky enough to escape in that capacity. To my knowledge, I've never had a concussion, but I tell people I probably gave a few away. Um, but yeah, lucky that I was able to kind of get through my career with just some sprains, but I'm
Right.
paying for it now. My body
Oh,
is
oh,
deteriorating.
oh my. And how old are you now?
38.
38. Put another 20 on there, and then talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, But it's the world, doesn't they see the injury in a game? Oh, he got helped off the field, he got carted off the field. they don't see the aftermath of what these, and I'm sure you saw some horrific stuff in your 4 years. I've seen some kids' legs snapped, and arms and craziness. Like the world doesn't see the rehab, the what it takes to come back.
Yeah.
But they show up next year. Oh, they must have had it pretty easy. They're playing again. But that 6, 8, 9, 10, 12 months of rehab and rebuilding the body and what was broken, that is just so difficult to deal with,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
you're lucky you didn't have, I mean, high ankle sprains are tough,
Yeah, they are.
you know.
They're annoying.
Yeah, they're
I've had ankle sprains my whole life. They're the
yeah.
most annoying thing that I get.
That's because you didn't work on your calves enough.
I guess.
you know. But did you witness any of your guys on your team go through some tough times injury wise?
Yeah, there's one in particular that his career ended. This is my freshman year. We were playing at Penn State, and I think it was Michael Robeson was the quarterback at the time. It was a play on the sidelines I can remember vividly, like our safety who was really good. Like he would have been, a lottery pick in the NFL draft type of player.
Yeah,
And he was having a tremendous year. He came down right there on the sideline, and it was just like a collision. Um, in that moment, he was carted off the field. We didn't
mm,
realize how serious it was, but he's since that moment has lost sensation in the left part of his body, and his career was over with.
it's almost like Inky Johnson,
Yeah,
right?
very similar. Yeah. Um,
Oh,
and we all felt bad because, like, he was great person, somebody we knew that was going to have a long career,
yeah,
a key part of our team, and we just saw how devastated he was. Looking back at that moment now and just like seeing how he is in his life, he's still around, and like we always kind of reminisce on the different stories of being at back at the Univ and even his time. Like we would talk about him a lot. Like, man, you was this and that, and he would light up in those moments. But I can also sense just like, damn, like that disappointment.
yeah,
And for those who have that identity, which is part of what I'm doing now, like that
yeah,
identity locked into like this is my thing and this is what
yeah,
I'm good at and this is what everybody knows me for, and that's taken away from me at a time where it's like I was this close to my dreams happening. Like that's hard.
yeah,
And for you to try to figure out life after the fact is even harder. So he had to lean into a lot of us. Like I know he was going through a lot
yeah,
mentally through that process of still being there for
yeah,
the next 3 years. Had he stayed that year and played, he probably left, you know. And just him being around guys now, like he comes to alumni events, and I could just see that he's in a different place. Like he's found a way of like finding purpose and helping
yeah,
others, but when it's stripped away from you like that, like it hurts. And
yeah,
when you see
yeah,
your teammate go through that, it hurts even more because it's just like,
yeah,
damn, like I knew this person was going to be successful. And why? Why did it have to happen to him? Like out of all
right,
people, like
right.
why?
And, sometimes I believe that things happen for a reason, and sometimes I wonder like what the hell happened. You know what I mean? It's like crazy, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
So how about for you? There was that day in time where you took your helmet off for the last time.
yeah.
Can you talk about that? That experience. What were you feeling? What was going on in your head? Was it an emotional day? Did you know it was your last time? And how did you respond?
Well, I will say I did not know it was my last time. We did my last time playing the University of Minnesota was at a bowl game, Insight Bowl, and we were playing against Kansas. We ended up losing that game, so I was not very happy about going out with a loss. And at that moment, I was like, okay, this is only, a chapter in my life, and the next chapter for me is going to the NFL. So that was my expectation. I went into training, getting ready for pro day, and just kind of get myself ready for the next phase of my life. Um, it wasn't until after the draft that I realized that this dream that I had was like slowly dissipating, and I may have played my last game a year ago. And that was hard to take because it was like I feel like I still got way more left in the tank
Yeah.
and I got way more to prove. And as I talked about before, I was very motivated by doubt, but this was the first time that doubt like played his hand and nobody really cared and gave me an opportunity. And that's what really like tore me up. Cause like
Yeah.
usually with the doubt, I've always had a door that opened up for me. And like that's all I need. Give me a door and I will
Yeah.
just run through it. But in this process, I was training. I felt like I was good enough to get drafted. I didn't hear my name called, and my family had a draft party, and it was embarrassing. Like sitting there trying to fight off all these questions that they had, like what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to my agent, like, hey, get me on a training camp, give me something. Um, and I'm not sure why um, it didn't play out, but I'm not looking at that situation in regret now. I feel like it happened for a reason, and it kind of put me on this trajectory of like building myself back up and
Yeah.
figuring out like what's next for me, but also stirring up this passion where now I'm trying to help others kind of open their eyes, not from a standpoint of disappointment, but like giving them a sense of confidence that they can be more than this and that their
Yeah.
fulfillment and joy doesn't have to just be wrapped around this validation of performance
Yeah.
that we get from playing in sports. Because, hey, you can get an injury, you cannot get your name called. And even if you play for a few years, like you can still be done. And then you're like still trying to figure out what's next.
Yeah.
And that for me was just like a hard thing that I was going through. But I feel like it was warranted to kind of help me get out of my thought process of that this is the only thing that was going to make me successful.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had to prove it for everybody else. And all the wrong reasons of carrying everybody else's weight on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Now I had to just dig deep internally and like figure out like what do I care about
Yeah.
and how do I find my own joy versus trying to prove a point to everybody else.
Right. Well, hey, listen, it sounds crazy. It's probably the best thing that never happened to you
No doubt.
because right now you're 38, young man, you know, in your eyes you probably don't think so, but you're 38, right?
I
And
appreciate it.
you've done so much stuff since then that
Hmm.
maybe if you did play 3 or 4 years in the NFL, you wouldn't be what you're doing now.
No doubt.
So
No
maybe
doubt.
it's the best thing that never happened. So here's the question for you then is what did you take from your playing days that's carried over now and helping
Hmm.
you in the roles that you're in now?
Oh man, so much. I would say definitely the ability to learn through failure. I think
Yeah.
that failure was like the biggest moment of my life. And while I was bitter and mad about it, when I actually paused and sunk into the feeling and realizing like, oh, this is the end, and empathizing with my own emotions in that moment, but also reflecting on what am I learning from this situation, that helped me move forward. That helped me figure out like what's next. And I've taken that with me in every step of my journey because I haven't gotten everything right. I haven't done the perfect pathway. My first job wasn't the best job, but I look back on all these moments and these experiences and I'm like, what am I taking from it? So
Right.
the failure and kind of like when you watch film, you make a mistake. What do I need to do to improve? What am I learning in this situation? I'm taking that with me in life. The other thing is a saying that I say in our house, and my kids are saying it now, and it's called "Stay ready so you don't have to get ready."
Hmm.
I say that often because I think about preparation for opportunities and moments because you never know when they're going to showcase. And my freshman year was a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
I came in, I was not thinking I was going to play, but I was like, I'm going to do whatever I can to be prepared for the moment. And the moment showcased. And when the moment came, I was ready. I was prepared. I was already practicing and knowing that if you gave me a shot, like I'm going to do my best and I'm
Yeah.
going to show you my ability. that has happened to me in multiple careers where I am, even to the University of Minnesota, where I came back to Minnesota after being gone for like 4 or 5 years. And I wasn't looking for a job at the university. I was, how can I help? How can I come in and showcase an opportunity to connect with people and bring them to the resources that are available at the U of M? So I would volunteer at a number of events, volunteer at alumni engagement opportunities, so much so that they just got so familiar with seeing my face. And somebody said, Steve, here's an opportunity for you. I would love for you to apply to this job. And I didn't know I was ready for the job. I had no experience in alumni engagement, but they saw what I was already doing in the space, and saw what the role required. I'm like, oh, I've been
Piece
doing
of
this.
cake. Yeah.
So let's just move forward. That has happened numerous times in my career to a point where when I moved from even my position as just an affinity engagement manager to becoming the vice president of our team, it came at a moment where I was already learning, and this is another thing, I was already learning what everybody else was doing in our organization, so I can step in and support.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what I've learned from moving from defensive end to outside linebacker is that I was an individual contributor, focused on my singular purpose and my singular goal. Whereas when I moved to linebacker, I had to know what everybody was doing on the team. I had to know how all 11 of us were moving and where we needed to be. So it opened up my perspective to just be responsible and think about how to hold others accountable, also to know what our strengths are.
Yeah.
I've used that in my career, and that's what helped me to be ready for this vice president role because I know what everybody does, and I can step in when that person is out to help.
Yeah.
And then when the opportunity came to lead the team, I already understand what the team needs.
Yeah.
So they just kind of say, Steve, we need you to step into this role. And I was like, all right, let's do it. I hadn't had managerial, I guess, responsibilities for a team of 7 people at that point in my career,
Yep.
but I had managed a team of football players as a captain, and hey, that skill set can be transferable here. So I think as I got older, I started to realize more about like the intangibles that came
Yeah.
from sports and how it plays out in my life, and my ability to just be ready for things, and my ability to know what everybody else is doing and be a leader,
Yep.
my ability to fight through failure and learn from it. And I would say also my ability to just be open to possibilities and not knowing like I can't control everything.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I harping on when I played is like I can't control the outcome, but I'm gonna control my effort, I'm control my assignment and do everything I can in that regard to help make us successful. Same thing I do in my life now is like I'm trying to do a lot, but I also have to harp back in like I only can control what I can control
Yeah.
and be okay with everything else. You know what I mean?
Be okay with the outcome.
Right.
If you did your best, that's all you can do. Right.
Right.
So you answered my question without even me asking. Say, how did you end up at Minnesota and what, right? So now what are you doing there? Like, what is your role? What kind
Yeah.
of impact are you making? You've been there for over 8 years now, right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
means
And
they must like you
yeah.
and you must like them. Because in the college world of sports, if no one's liking each other, we're gone.
Right, right. No, my role it's been very rewarding because I've had the opportunity to create community, which is
Mm.
something that I realized that has become part of my life, is bringing people together and giving them a chance to be seen, be heard, be valued, and feel a sense of belonging. Um, because I've been here and I had this passion about this place to make it better, it's kind of given me that determination and that drive to create things that weren't there and knock on doors and try to create opportunities with other departments across the university to solidify different things that haven't been done before. And I think about it for a standpoint of like the legacy that not necessarily I want to leave, but a legacy of creating a space where those behind me have a better experience than I did. And that's been like my biggest driver to the fact of why I've been here 8 years is there's still more things that could be accomplished. And at the same time, there's still great things that have already been done with the sense of creating community for folks.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, with my role, I've been able to, for instance, like bring a Black alumni network, a multicultural alumni network, work with our entrepreneurs to get them plugged into
And that
the
didn't exist before you got there.
that did not exist, and
That's
bring
great.
them in to be connected. And then at the same time, talking to the athletic department about different ways that we can work together and, partnering on like pregame events or getting alumni to show up to different things. All
Is
this
that
just
is
kind
that
of
hard to
came at
do? Steve, sorry to interrupt, but is that hard to do to get alumni to show up? Or is that easy?
I mean, it depends on what type of alumni you're talking about. I feel like for those who are disengaged and don't feel like a sense of connection, oftentimes they're waiting for somebody to reach out to them and say, "Hey, we value you, we miss you, we want you to come, we want to personally invite you to this event." And more times than not, they're going to show up.
Okay.
But if you just send them like a templated email or a templated mailer, most people are tuning those out because I think a lot of folks leave college and you're trying to get a job, you're trying to figure
Yeah.
out your own life. And if your college is hitting you up and saying, "Hey, thank you for your time,
Donate
please
money.
donate to this,"
Yeah.
that's going to turn you off
Right.
to think that all messages from the university are going to be like that.
Right.
And I have to get over that hurdle with people to
Yeah.
kind of explain, like, hey, I'm not reaching out to you to take from you. I'm actually trying to give to you, and I'm trying to find ways of enhancing your life. And here's some resources that we have that can
Yeah.
help you right now. And they're like, oh, this is cool. And
Yeah.
quite often times, I get a lot of people who just realize that we have some of these networks and communities for the first time, and they say to themselves, like, I wouldn't have connected with the university had I not had this connection.
Yeah.
For an athlete, that's very true. Like, hey, I wouldn't have came to Rutgers or
Yeah.
Minnesota had I not played football. So the football team reaches out and they say something about you come back as an alum, like, oh yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah.
But if the journalism department reaches out and say, hey, can you come back and oh, we're gonna ask for a donation at this event, I'm tuning that out. And
Yeah.
that is 100% like um what we will see for a lot of people doing,
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think my experience here has been helpful to just learn how to do that work in a way to a certain extent. Like I haven't had a lot of resources, so I had to create opportunities and knock on
Yeah.
doors. But it gave me a little bit more confidence in also creating my own thing.
Yeah.
And knowing that I have this ability of bringing people together and I'm pouring it all into the university, I can also
Yeah.
pour it into my own passion and helping
Yeah.
others. And I can create something on my own that would not only benefit the University of Minnesota, but it can benefit a lot of people around the world.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at now, where like I'm working at the university, I'm still there part-time, and at the same time, I'm building out Strive Higher at the sports and doing a lot more work in that space
Yeah.
because that's my mission.
It's your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Where did that inspiration come from? I mean, I'm going to show this on the screen again. No, it's not like I think I told you, I bought this for my team, this book, and my guys are actually, they're using it weekly. They're writing their stuff in there.
Love it.
Some
Love it.
guys are writing like books in there, and like
Love
there's
it.
like no room on the page. But what I love about this thing is that it's a daily journal for the day. But what I think is cool is this end of the week reflection
Hmm.
to kind of look back at the last 5 or 6 days and say, like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. And sometimes when you put the pen to paper and it's like therapy, right? And these kind of things, journaling is so important, because it gets you to think. And when you put the pen on the paper and the connection goes up your arm into your brain, right? And it makes you think in more detail. So
Most
so
definitely.
talk about your inspiration behind this. How did it come about? And
Yeah.
it's just so cool.
Yeah, for me, as I kind of reflected on my own life and my own experiences, I kind of understood where I grew the most and why I grew the most is because I took time to actually reflect. Um, I could have been bitter about all the things that happened in my life and just blame everybody else. And to be honest with you, my first few years out of being done with sports, I was all in that headspace.
Yeah.
But eventually, when I started to just like actually look back, reflect, write down, wins and losses, but also just like what are the things that I want to take from this moment. That's when it started to click for me and me moving forward
Yeah.
and finding new opportunities. It just so happened that this is things happen for a reason. I come back to Minnesota. I'm working at the Alumni Association. And obviously, my goal at the Alumni Association was try to help as many athletes too, as well as helping all alumni. But we started doing some programming in this space called Designing Your Life. And that was a concept that came out, 2014, 2015, something like that. Um, when I started to hear some of the facilitators talk about some of the work, and I was like, oh my God, like I've done everything that they're saying, and I get it. This makes 100% sense to me. And I really love the concept of this because I've used these same type of things where I go out, I try something, I put myself out there, I talk to people. And when I'm talking to people, I'm learning from them and their experiences, and I'm building a relationship. And then those relationships have opened up doors for me. And then I also look at every step that I've been and every job that I've been, and I'm trying to figure out what are the best things and qualities that I want to take with me. Even if
Yeah.
I hated the job, like what
Yeah.
are the things that I'm learning? I was like, I did all this. And I saw this concept of this framework from Stanford, and I was like, okay, I want to learn a little bit more about it. So I started diving into it um, and learn more about what life design is. Um, it just so happened that when I decided to really build a company and build something to help athletes, I wanted to make sure that I had that same principle and that same framework within it. And it was really about giving yourself a sense of autonomy and also control of designing a life that you want. And by designing a life that you want, you get to experiment. You get to
Yeah.
make prototypes. You get to make adjustments. But at the end of the day, if you are really tracking it, you're going to grow and you're going to evolve eventually because of all the different steps and things that
Yeah.
you've gone through in your
Can you
experiences.
talk about that? Like the tracking side.
Yeah,
So many people like, come on, what do I gotta do that for? I always say you get what you focus on, right? Because so
yeah,
can you talk about that part of tracking and how important it is to track daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, so you can see the progress of what's happening?
right. I mean, because life goes by fast, and if you're just doing mundane tasks and you're complaining about like, oh, I
Mm,
hate this job or I don't like this, but you're not really taking the time to figure out what is it that you don't like about it, or what is it that you can find some positive like notes and annotations from, then you're doing yourself a disservice of actually truly learning in that experience. So I think it's important when it comes to reflection to be able to sit down and actually process
yeah,
even your day to say like, man, this person talked to me about this and it drained me. Man,
yeah,
I do not like talking about that type of stuff. And you learn that about yourself.
yeah,
Had you not put that down on paper, you might have just thought like you don't like that person. No,
yeah,
you realize
yeah.
you don't like that conversation.
The topic, yeah,
Right. Um, or you may see that, by going and like connecting with new people or showcasing people around the office, like you love that type of stuff. And it gives you more data.
clarity.
Yeah, gives you more
Yeah,
clarity, gives you more data to be able to say, okay, now I know this about myself. I can make an informed decision about what I want to do next. Like you
yeah,
have more data to move forward. As a person who's a designer, they create a product, they put it out to the world, but they have beta testers that are going
yeah,
through telling me what are the things that are messing up. Give me the errors, tell me what's right, tell me what's wrong. And then from that beta test, they make some adjustments. Um, but then eventually they start adding different apps and things and seeing how much capacity this thing
yeah,
has.
yeah,
At a certain point, they're like, okay, now that we've gotten this phone out and or this product out and it's doing all these different things, we want to create a better version of this next time. And we've got all this data based upon like how this one performed so that we can create a better version the next time.
yeah,
I tell people to use their life in the same type of fashion. You know, if you're the same person as you were 5 years ago, you're not being intentional about growth.
No.
And
You're more of a fixed mindset.
right, right. You're stuck in that place only because you want to be stuck in that place. Like you have the control to be able to learn in any environment.
Right.
Like you can learn from people under you, people that are
Yeah.
your peers, people that are
Yeah.
above you. And if you intentionally reflect on those conversations and things, those help. Um, and give you a sense, like journaling to me, sometimes it felt like obscure, like, ah, I don't want to do this. It's kind of like I'm writing a diary. But when I
Yeah.
started doing it and actually writing down like my experiences, it really helped me to like push through all the cloud and just
Yeah.
see what my thoughts were actually telling me and gave me a sense of direction to kind of move forward with what I want to do. So when I created the journal, it was more about like there's gratitude journals out here, there's a lot of journals out here, and everything that I'm teaching and helping athletes with in my coaching is really on the process of reflection and growth.
Yeah.
And I want to give them a tool that helps them do that as well. From a daily standpoint, also looking back on the week to be able to like process all of the things and to a certain extent it's give you a chance to be grateful
Yeah.
for even the smaller things, like what are things that actually you're proud of for the day.
Yeah.
um, because the world is so crazy and there's a lot of different things and we can always think about more and like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not there yet, I'm not good enough, or this bad thing happened to me, but there's always something positive that we can pull out of it. And I'm more of the mindset of pushing folks more towards that positive
Yeah.
energy
Yeah.
versus focusing on the negative. So,
Okay. So the other thing which is great about this journal is that like sometimes like it's Friday, I forgot about Monday. What did I do? You know
right.
what I mean? What went good? What and you go back and you look like, holy crap, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So let's make sure that happens again Monday, the
Right.
next Monday, or make sure that doesn't happen next Monday.
Right.
But if you don't track it, like the days just like kind of blur together.
The blur. Right.
The days, the weeks, the months, like what the heck is going on here? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk about your success stories here. I mean, you're impacting so many people, right? Your ripple effect has got to be just like taken off, right? So can you talk about like what are you most proud of right now with this movement, this company you built, this thing that you're doing? Like what's success stories going on and what are you most proud of?
I mean, honestly, Jeff, I'm proud that people want me to share a platform to tell my story
Yeah.
and try to help others. Like I'm truly blessed to even be able to be here to talk about myself in this way because I could have gone the other way during my whole transitional period.
Yeah.
The fact that God has given me this platform to try to impact lives, like I don't take it for granted. I'm grateful
Yeah.
for anybody that wants to talk to me about it,
Yeah.
any athlete that I get a chance to just kind of pour into, and really kind of help them see something in themselves that sometimes they are hard on themselves to even think about.
Yeah.
Um, Getting into spaces where I get to talk to an athlete and help them come up with different creative things about their lives and passions and things that they want to explore that they say to themselves, like, had I not had this space, I wouldn't have done this. Like,
Yeah.
because my schedule is so crazy, I don't have time to just sit down and just do these types of things.
Right.
And hearing them feel fired up based upon understanding something new about themselves, like that gives me life.
Yeah.
And I'm in this to not from a standpoint of just trying to make a buck and just help people. I'm actually trying to give them something that is tangible that will help them grow, and really kind of set them up for future fulfillment and joy. Because I know a lot of us get done and it's hard and you get depressed and you know your community is kind of gone. And I see the detriment that it
Yeah.
has caused on a lot of athletes. And this work is needed, but I also feel like giving them an opportunity to learn and grow in a space and feel like they have a safe space to talk
Yeah.
about it, and not be judged.
Yeah.
And somebody understands their plight and their story. Like that to me is like the greatest honor that I have in doing this work.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I'm gonna be in 5 years with this, but I just know I'm trying to take it a day at a time, strive higher every day,
Yeah.
and try to find the best opportunity to make an impact on others as I
Right.
can, and let the chips fall where they lay. But as I get more exposure to more people and get the opportunity to speak to them, like I know for sure that God is
Yeah.
working through me, and I'm satisfied with just being in the presence of the people, knowing that they're gonna get something from it.
Yeah. Now, how cool is it for you, right? To be involved with these athletes, and this isn't the right wording, but to sit back and kind of watch the impact and influence you have on them and where they go with it. Like that's got to be so cool for you to just like, hey, I had something that I like touched that guy for maybe 1 second and look
Yeah.
at what it's doing.
I
Like talk
mean,
about that.
it's definitely a rewarding feeling when, from a coaching standpoint, I'll tell you, like when I'm coaching an athlete and help them kind of see something that they weren't seeing themselves, and then it just lights up something new in them, and then they want to
Yeah.
take that and actually do some action, like that fills me up because it's like we were in this moment for a reason, and
Yeah.
I don't know what that reason is going to be, but when that type of moment happens, it's like, okay, you found something that's going to help carry you forward, and you're going to be a different person because of this
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
And when the athlete comes up to me and actually tells me like, "Hey, I learned something new about myself, and I really appreciate the opportunity to just connect with you,"
Yeah.
like that fills my heart because it's like I'm doing this for a reason, and then that's the affirmation that I'm getting
Yeah.
back from other people that
Yeah.
I'm doing the right thing. So
It's so cool. It's got to be so cool for guys who if they reach out to you, a month later, 2 months later, and maybe they just hit you with a text message, "Hey man, thank you." Like that's all they got to say,
yeah,
right? And it's like you're like on fire again.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure.
That's got to be so cool.
Those
So
are in my journals. Those are wins.
yeah, that's good. That's good. So for current athletes, current college guys or girls getting ready to make that transition out, because not everybody gets to that next level, most don't. What advice can you give them to prepare for that transition?
Yeah. One thing that I always talk about is especially now, there are way more resources available at these schools than I had. And the biggest thing that I can give to people in an advice standpoint is deepening and connecting and building relationships with the right people around you will carry you through life. And if you take advantage of the academic staff, the mental performance staff, the athletic development, the career readiness staff that are there at those schools, and actually connect with those people, like go have a conversation, or it sometimes baffles me that some athletes want to go into coaching or go into athletic administration, but they haven't talked to their coach about it, or they haven't talked to the athletic director about it. You got to go have those conversations.
Yeah,
And as intimidating as it may seem, a lot of those people are open to just having a conversation with you.
sure.
They will share the full journey. They will share the playbook if
Yeah,
you ask them. And
yeah,
a lot of athletes sometimes feel like they don't have the status to do that if they're not like the top player.
yeah,
Or they may feel like, well, I'm too busy that I don't have the time to go talk to people yet. So I'll wait till I get done and then I'm trying to knock on the door. At that point, it's too late. So I try to
yeah,
tell people, especially when it comes to transition and you're still playing, for one, tap into the people and
yeah,
utilize the resources that are around you with those people to kind of deepen the relationship because you're going to need them one day and they're
yeah,
going to be willing to help you if they have a relationship with you.
yeah,
The other thing that I talk about specifically is that while you're still playing, I think there's this misconception or this nomenclature about like I gotta focus on everything in my sport. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to play. I'm not gonna be able to like sustain my scholarship. Like I gotta focus on this because my coach wants me to. Yeah, that's great. But you can still do that and start setting up other steps in your life. And it's not a bad thing to think about life after sports while you're still in it because you never know when it's going to end. And the worst thing you want is to be caught flat-footed. And a
yeah.
lot of us get caught flat-footed
Oh yeah,
because we haven't prepared a single thing outside of sports. and they're like, all right, now what do I want to do? I got this marketing degree, but I don't want to do marketing. So
Yeah.
let me go back to school or let me go talk to some other people. So I talk about like exploring all the different options and like thoughts that you may have about things that you want to explore or passions that you may have,
Yeah.
getting a chance to like think about those things, write those things down. And as you're tapping into people, getting a chance to get closer to some of those things. For those, like I said, who are interested in coaching or
Yeah.
interested in athletic administration, getting a chance to shadow and just kind of see the daily grind that these people go through and go through that yourself to understand how you can reflect on that
Yeah.
experience to say, well, this is what aspect that I like. This is an aspect I don't want any parts
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
And that will help you give you a better sense of direction so that you have a little bit more experience to talk about and think about when you get done. So those are two main things that I would say.
Cool. So there's people listening right now. They're like, how do I get a hold of this guy? How do I get that book? Like, what does this guy do? Can he come speak at my place? How can they reach you and tell them all about that?
Yeah, well, the easiest way is my website, strivehigheraftersports.com. It has my book, it has all the services that I offer, which are coaching. I do speaking and workshops. The other way is I am very visible on social media. So if you follow me on Instagram, it is Shed, SHED underscore AVE, AVE, or follow me on LinkedIn. Those are great opportunities just to connect with me and just kind of see some of the work that I'm doing out in the world. But I always tell people like Prime, like I ain't hard to find. Like you
Yeah.
can reach out.
I found you.
Right.
As soon as I saw you, I'm like, I got to get this guy on this show.
There you go.
It's like all the stuff you're doing. It's just so cool.
Yeah,
You
thank you.
have to, you have to be having a lot of fun.
I am living the life that I feel like I've been called to live,
Right.
and I get fulfillment. Truly, I get
Yeah.
fulfillment when I have conversations like this and talking with other athletes and helping
Yeah.
them figure out the light in the middle of all the cloud, and
Yeah.
helping them figure out how they can move forward in their life in a positive way, but also knowing that I can be a resource in that way. I didn't know my life would turn out this way. I didn't know I'd be an entrepreneur. I tell people all the time, like I wasn't planning on opening a business. You couldn't tell me when I went to University of Minnesota that I would come back and be doing life coaching. Like what? No, that wasn't in my cards. But God has put me in this position and I am
Yeah.
truly grateful and I get fulfillment out of just really connecting with people. So
Yeah. That's awesome.
yeah.
So last question for you.
Yeah.
I can talk to you for another 2 hours,
I know,
but
man. We can go forever.
I know. But legacy, you hear the word legacy all the time, right?
Yeah.
One day, somewhere along the line, someone's going to look back on you. They're going to, because it happens to everybody. How do you want to be remembered? What's your legacy do you want to leave behind when somebody looks back and says, Stephen Davis Jr., wow.
Yeah. I want them to say that was a person who poured into others, served others to help them find positivity and fulfillment in their lives. That's my mission. That's the statement that I want to be said about me, regardless of all the things that I do. I'm doing a lot, but at the end of the day, it's really about bringing people together, helping them feel a sense of inspiration and fulfillment in their lives, and they know that this guy just gave to others.
Mm. Bringing people together. I mean, that's you. That's your next book, right? If you already maybe you already thought of that, but
Yeah.
that could be the title of your next book, bringing people together.
Yeah, it definitely could. And, I'm trying to take that a step further, even in this space of the work that I'm doing. The ultimate goal that I have is not only just working with individuals or in groups, but actually creating that community for athletes. We're in
Yeah,
the process of doing that right now, actually,
right.
working with a few different professionals and people who are like-minded, like myself, who care about athletes. And we're just coming together and like we're trying to put together a community here
Yeah,
where no matter what sport you play, what team you play for, you live in Minnesota, here's where you can connect with other players. And we're gonna get together, we're gonna socialize, we're gonna pour into each other, we're gonna create safe space, we're gonna help you find that team after your team is done.
yeah.
And that to me is like the biggest ultimate goal that I have in this space as bringing people together
Yeah.
is helping us find our sense of belonging out in the real world with each other.
Well, it sounds like you found it. You know what I mean? And now it's just tapping many people on the shoulders that just come in and listen and become part of it,
No doubt.
which is cool. But Steve, man, thank you so much for being on here.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun. Again, I could talk to you for 2 more hours, but you have a family. You gotta go. You're probably starving right now. But I'm looking forward to your continued success. Any way that I can help, man, just call, email, text, tap,
Yeah.
whatever you got to do, and I'll be there. But I wish you the best, and I'm looking for your continued success.
Thank you, Jeff. And I appreciate you bringing me on and your support with the journals and having it with your team. Like that means a lot to me. And,
Yeah,
as athletes, we're just trying to continue to help others and, we'll definitely stay connected.
yeah, it's one big family.
Yep.